Hi guys, welcome to Andaz. As you all know, Andaz is an inspirational talk show brought to you from the United States. And every week we talk to fabulous guests from around the country. This week's episode is all about success. Many times people say that success is how much money you have in the bank. It's determined by your happiness. It's a personal feeling inside. Well, today we talk to amazing guests to find out what they think success is. We start off the show with CEO, founder, entrepreneur, Atul Jain. He formed a company called TEOCO. TEOCO is an international superstar with over 1,300 employees in 30 countries. They've had a 10-time growth sprout in the last just 10 years. In a decade, can you imagine building out a company from scratch and making it a company that has 175 million in revenues? But the best part is this. He has built the entire foundation of his company based on the concept of joy. Let's go take a look at how he does this. You know, I've been roaming around your offices for the past couple of days, and I have to say one thing. The company culture here is amazing. I think at one point, all of us, myself, including my entire team, were like, are they hiring? We want a job. So let's get into that, because I know a lot of this represents you and your philosophy towards what success is. Entrepreneurs that are just starting off. I mean, they're often told that you have to be cutthroat, that you have to look out for yourself, that it's that kind of world out there, and if you're not looking out for yourself, you don't learn to play your cards right and be a little bit manipulative, you may not succeed. But you have a whole new philosophy. How do you do that, and what do you tell the next generation?
There are many different ways of being successful in business. And what you have described is one way, and is often practiced pretty commonly. There are many different ways. I came from the point of view that you absolutely can create success, not only being nice to people, but while worrying about creating joy in everybody's life, your employees, your clients, and the community that you do business in. Do you do your best when you feel threatened, or do you do your best when you feel empowered?
Yeah.
It is not that people don't run their hardest when they feel threatened, but it is when you run your hardest because you want to.
Yeah.
That's even more special.
What makes TEOCO great in my mind is how passionate people are about their jobs, and it comes from Atul and his mission for the company.
I've been with TEOCO for 8 years, and in that time I have seen TEOCO grow, change, and make tremendous accomplishments.
Yes, as a business, we have to drive results. It's the people that make the things happen. And frankly, people matter.
How do you define success?
For me, success is making sure that the people here feel great every day. And in some ways, my dream has been to giving life to their dreams. I'm involved in the recruiting of every single employee, at least in the US, to make sure that I understand whether, so to speak, they're a cultural fit, understand what's important to them, what are their life's dreams and goals. And we only create associations where we feel there is a mutual win-win. Not just that they're an employee and they can do a certain job, but we feel that we truly have to offer what it is that they are looking for.
I think we've all done a tremendous job protecting our core values and coming together to really make this company grow and be the best that it can be.
What are some other fundamental principles that you live by in your business?
One concept that I can share with you is the concept of recurring revenue. If you can find a way to create a certain amount of revenue in your business that recurs from month to month and year to year, then it really becomes a whole lot more predictable for you to have a sense of what your revenue stream is going to be. Planning your expenses without having a sense of your revenue stream is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I encourage every entrepreneur to think about their business in terms of, is it possible to create recurring revenue, even if that means to some degree sacrificing growth in the early going. 10 plus years ago, right around the time of .com bust, somebody was asking me, how do you deal with difficult business climate and recession? And what I told them, and I still remember to this day, is by the time that difficult business climate comes, it's actually too late to figure out how to deal with it. But if you have created relatedness with your people, you have a culture of shared success and shared sacrifice, and people understand that when the times get difficult, it's actually not that difficult to deal with the difficult times, because everybody is there to pitch in. They are willing to, if need be, take a lower salary, if need be, take a furlough. But if you have created a culture of shared sacrifice and shared success, when the times get difficult, it's actually stronger for the companies that have that strong culture.
Oh, I love that.
One of the great things in working for TEOCO is to see how the different disciplines are actually working together. This is absolutely fantastic and the best thing that I have experienced in my working career.
What about your philosophy on life? What do you tell your kids? How do you want them to live their life?
I feel that I have grown up with a certain amount of philosophy that comes from the religion of Jainism. And this detachment is a core concept which is very, very hard. So I've coined a word called detached attachment. I want things, but I don't want them at all costs.
That's beautiful. It's so true. It made me think about lots of areas in my life where that can apply, that philosophy. Where do you see TEOCO in the next 10 years?
Well, I never imagined I would say it, but perhaps one day if we are lucky enough and deserving enough, maybe one day TEOCO will be $1 billion business.
Oh, it will be, and it'll be all based on joy. I see that happening. I can feel it here in your culture. Everybody's in this to make it happen, every single person. And I really congratulate you on that and your success, and I can't wait to see where you're headed.
If you believe, you can be.
Thank you so much, Atul.
Thank you, Sarika.
Thanks, Atul. I just loved your company culture and hanging out with you for the day and experiencing the warmth and joy in TEOCO. And next we talk to journalist, entrepreneur, Kim McNicholas.
Andaz, brought to you by Intellius. Live in the know. Visit www.intellius.com. Ushaji, your spiritual advisor. Call now or visit ushaji.org. Trivium Corporate Solutions for the life of your business. TriviumCS.com. Basic Ayurveda, your source for Ayurvedic juices. Visit basicayurvedausa.com.
Success to Kim means helping others. She's taken on a twist to entrepreneurship by comparing the sport of kiteboarding to being an entrepreneur. Let's go check it out.
These are the co-founders of Mai Tai. You've heard me talk about that. Mai Tai, Susie Mai, the Mai and the Mai Tai, and Bill Tai.
But entrepreneurs are drawn to sports that are like kind of high energy, high action, and full of a lot of variables.
They're adrenaline junkies.
They definitely are. So we announced a contest where any entrepreneur with a great product or an idea even can get the resources they need to really scale their product. So an entrepreneur can basically come in, enter the contest, and if they win, they can scale their product for free. A lot of the folks that are in our group have had successful outcomes, and I think the market value of those companies, it's probably over $20 billion.
All kinds of people come to Mai Tai and try to kite with us, including Elon Musk or Salar Kamangar from Google. Like we've had a ton of people that's with Sir Richard Branson. So obviously it really helps to have him on board and be really excited. But he loves kiteboarding, so he's really on board with Mai Tai. Kiteboarding, just like anything else, is just kind of, it teaches you to. It really does teach you not to take no for an answer. Because if I had said no at the day one, then I wouldn't even have started kiteboarding.
Yeah, kiteboarding is interesting because it's a sport where you really have to kind of get out of your own skin because you're stepping into the unknown. Yeah, so it's a very community-oriented sport because you need other people to survive and learn.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
Kim, you are on your entrepreneurial journey right now with your company, and so are you, Jason. So let's just get into a discussion about those days when things didn't go the way you wanted them to go, and you had to kind of take on that positive mindset and pivot a little bit.
I started out actually with a quiz app, but then it evolved and I realized, well, that's not really reaching the market that I really want it to reach, and so that's where I pivoted and I created the video communications platform.
So how did you know that was your time to pivot?
You have to put your ego aside and say, you know what, this isn't working. It's the ones that actually pivoted and went where the wind was blowing are the ones that ended up successful.
Exactly.
It's interesting that you bring that up because, I've never been kiteboarding before, but, as you're looking out here, you see the conditions change constantly. You need to listen to the market as well, not just your team. Excuse me.
And beware the flies.
Just in case a fly comes in, you just keep rolling. But
roll with the punches.
You have to listen to the market. You have to understand what people are telling you that they want. Because ultimately, if you build something that's just for you and your team, you really don't have much of a business, right? So you need to constantly be open and receptive to some of these other directions.
That's what I love about entrepreneurs, is the willingness to go out there, take the risk, and see the people that are succeeding and not focus on the rest.
And keep getting back up when you're thrashed.
Oh, yes.
Kiteboarding, entrepreneurship, I mean, you go through some serious rough patches. Yeah. And it's just, you get up, you shake it off, know that everything works out, you get back out there, you do it again.
There's a mindset that you have to keep going.
Entrepreneurs are so incredibly supportive of one another, and I noticed the same thing with kiteboarding. You need to build your community of like-minded people that will be your first adopters. And it's not just about having them come to you, it's starting the community by going to them, helping other entrepreneurs, going to Zipkick and saying, you know what, you're a friend, you're a fellow entrepreneur, I'm going to support you, I'm going to go and use your product because you know what, it's going to come around, and when mine launches, he's going to use mine as well.
But then how do you keep yourself going when you're just down in the trenches, like in kiteboarding? Like, how do you get back up?
There's always a way. And with entrepreneurs that are saying, you know what, I can't make my idea happen because I don't have investors, well then you know what, you aren't an entrepreneur because you're not willing to work to make it happen anyway.
Some of your most brilliant ideas were when you were on the water, because you're into water sports as well. So let's go into that a little bit and how water sports and entrepreneurship are so synonymous with one another, especially kiteboarding, and why a lot of entrepreneurs are attracted to this sport.
So I used to be a professional water skier as well as a competitive water skier, and when I started working for Forbes, you know how it is when you cover a lot of developers and a lot of entrepreneurs, it's all about 24/7 in the dark, and the only light they see is the brightness of their screen. And so I thought there has to be so much more, because I would always get my best ideas and inspiration and perspective when I was out on the water. The deals done on the beach through this group is absolutely amazing, and the whole idea between the two is that the entrepreneurs inspire the athletes and the athletes inspire the entrepreneurs. And there's this mutual respect that you just don't see anywhere else. One of the cool things about being on the beach is that you can sit here and you focus on your senses. You first focus on your sight and what you see. You focus on what you hear. And then you focus on what you feel, you know, sitting in the sand and the breeze blowing. And if you're focusing on all those things, your mind just gets freed up of all of the little things that are just running through there, and it just opens up your mind so much more for new ideas to just emerge. At first you're like just at the point where you think you're just gonna quit. You suddenly just get over that hump and you go. But you always, at all times, you see the people out there, you know where you want to go, you see that light, you feel the adrenaline. That's what really, I think, keeps you going.
Thank you, Kim. I just love what you are doing to help others, and I just know you'll be out there trick skiing with Richard Branson in no time. And we haven't heard from our favorite intellectual for a while. Let's get a tip of the week from Vivek Bhadla.
The best way to get known is to start establishing contact with journalists. Write to them. That's how you get PR. Have your own voice. Start writing. You can set up your own blog and start sharing your ideas. You'll find that you learn by writing. I do a lot of writing. If you look at my articles in the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and everywhere, I get smarter every time I write more. That I talk about topics which are very diverse and end up learning from them. So go and express your voice and have an opinion.
Andaz, brought to you by Intellius. Live in the know. Visit www.intellius.com. Ushaji, your spiritual advisor. Call now or visit ushaji.org. Trivium Corporate Solutions, for the life of your business. triviumcs.com. Basic Ayurveda, your source for Ayurvedic juices. Visit basicayurvedausa.com.
Imagine growing up in poverty with basically nothing, and then taking a loan of $500 and moving on to create several IT companies that now have a revenue of over 100 million. And not only that, but then going on to make your dreams come true by launching your own skincare line and along the way empowering the homeless to make their dreams come true. Well, let's hear this inspiring story from entrepreneur Sanny Dash. Sanny and Shalini, great to have you guys here on this beautiful day in California. I just want to start off with giving our viewers like some history, kind of what you told us, your upbringing and how you came to be the success that you are today.
I actually grew up very poor. Like I asked my mom and said, what do I do? What do I do with my life? And my mom said, you need to start your own business, but you can't work for somebody 8 to 5. I started my business with $500.
Wow.
$500.
Yeah.
12 years ago. Here we are, almost at $100 million in revenue.
In your company, your philosophy is family.
Family is number one. Family is just number one. I always prioritize my life. Family, business, pleasure.
Okay, so who would not like to work with you, Sanny? We all are in.
And there's great perks. So we provide lunches, dinners, transportation. We take care of them.
Better check your email. You probably got a whole bunch of job applications in there right now. They're like, I want to work for her.
Well, you know, one of the best things I love doing is hiring sometimes a homeless person or someone who has absolutely no experience, no background in IT. I tell them, come join us. Let me turn your life around. If you're willing to learn, you're willing to give me a chance, let me turn your life around. And I have probably turned around over 100 people's lives around like that.
Wow.
And I want to keep continuing to do so.
That's fantastic. I love how much passion you have, and you have such a big heart for others.
I do.
It transfers into your companies, and I want to talk about computer tech a little bit. And I want to ask you, you know, how your passion started for IT and how you went down that path.
How computer tech came about was I knew it was going to be an IT company, and I had very little IT experience, but I said, if these guys can do it, I can do it, but I don't want to be making someone else rich. I want to make myself rich, my family rich, and I want to help others. Exactly.
Yeah. I want to know Sanny as a person. How do you define yourself?
You know, everybody says they want to live life to the fullest. I actually do. I've lived my life to the fullest, even when I was broke, when I was poor, because you're not broke if you're not broken here and you're not broken there.
Oh, and wow, that's a mantra of life.
Right, from poverty to the great life that I have right now. And the one thing I've never forgotten is, you know, help back, give back, and especially to my family. I've had a great life.
So I know your beauty product is coming up. You want to talk about it?
The name of the product is Sanny. It's going to come out probably sometime in November. And one of my hero products is a neck and décolleté. And what that will do is it will firm up your skin, it will firm up your neck. You can actually use that all over your body, but it's targeted for your neck and décolleté. Because that is the first sign of aging, that and hands.
And so where we can find the product you're launching in November?
It will be launched online, but I'm hoping it'll be launched in certain stores. It actually works. So there's a lot of products out there that don't work. These products work.
I want to know what advice you would give to young women out there who are starting their own businesses and are women and are going down this path where there are a lot of men. How did they stay strong?
You know, when I started the business, I wasn't aware that there was just men and there wasn't hardly any women. It's just, you know, I carried on like I'm just like one of them. And if you think that it's just women versus men, you're not going to do well in life.
So you don't have to segregate yourself from the.
You don't.
You're part of it.
I think one day when we talk about women leaders, it should be all leaders, not just all women, just women leaders. And that's how I've always thought of. And even when I see women starting entrepreneurship, I tell them, you know, you're not anything really special. You're an entrepreneur. Just do well.
Exactly.
Work with everybody. And I think that's important. Work with everyone.
It's important.
One of the most important things I've always said all my life is surround yourself with positive people. Always positive people. If you don't do that, it's going to impact your career, it's going to impact your personal life.
Yeah, I don't really think there is a personal life, you know, professional life. I think it all ends up merging because it's your energy.
I wish you all the best. I can't wait for your skincare line to come out. You've inspired all of us and all of our viewers out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is now time for host Justine to come on and tell you about our social media competition of the week. See y'all next week.
Hi guys, it's that time again. Time for some social media giveaways. Head on over to our Facebook and find a picture of me looking just like this per usual and comment with what you think your idea of success is. I'll pick my favorite answer and you'll actually win a one-on-one coaching session with Kim McNicholas. and she'll teach you how to become an interview pro. Also, check out Twitter for our Twitterview Tuesday, and you can sit down with Atul Jain and ask him any question you'd like on how to become a young and successful entrepreneur yourself. To wrap this successful show up, I got to sit down with Sushma Malhotra, who's a Silicon Valley expert. And her idea of success is helping entrepreneurs find a home for their business and helping them to really succeed. So I got to sit down with her, and I want you guys to join me. Sushma, it's so great to be here with you today. You're an entrepreneur here in Silicon Valley, and you've been helping other entrepreneurs really focus on their bottom line. You help companies really understand whether business decisions are good for their company, whether they should rent or buy, and those sorts of things. So before we delve into that, I want to know more about you. What got you into this line of work?
Real estate, as you know, is a huge cost for corporations. It directly impacts companies' bottom line and profitability. And it also can have a lot of moving parts and can be really complicated. After 20 years of working at one company, Advanced Micro Devices, I wanted to be able to help many companies avoid common mistakes that are routinely made and be able to provide them with that strategic advantage to be able to succeed. That's why I got into the business.
Well, that's a great reason to get into this business. I know you've helped a lot of entrepreneurs along the way, some in startups and some in some really amazing hot companies. Let's talk about an example that you might have of an entrepreneur that you were able to help.
One particular entrepreneur had signed a month-to-month lease, and what happens is in a month-to-month lease that landlords are still marketing the space, and he was only given less than 30 days to move out.
No.
It was a very stressful situation for the CEO and for his employees. But to make it worse, he had a board meeting in 3 days, and now CEO has this obligation to be able to report that to the board. So he came panicking, saying, Sushma, what do I do now? Normally, something like this takes 3 to 4 months to find that perfect solution. And so we worked round the clock, calmed him down, and I said, we'll make this happen. And we were able to find him a space that was ready to move in, and he was able to actually report to the board that a problem happened, and we found him a solution. And this actually turned out to be the best deal in their entire portfolio.
Having the perfect environment, having the perfect culture, all of these things play together. So there's a lot of myths out there about what to do when it comes to finding an ideal place to set up your business. What are some of these myths that you've come across?
One of the common myths people think is that they can actually negotiate a better deal than we can. Sometimes they'll try to negotiate themselves, but it is so important to work with an advisor, because it's the entire framework from the very beginning. It's not about just the free rent or the rate. We look at least 15 to 20 things in a given transaction or a lease that people overlook. And sometimes right in the middle of the transaction or right in the middle of their lease, they'll come and say, why did I get such a high bill? Because they have overlooked some of the important expenses. Or at the end of their lease, they're given a huge bill. So if not done correctly, that can make the difference.
All that small print.
And the second thing people sometimes don't look for is the attorney review. They'll try to save some money, and that is one thing that is in the fine print that should always be consulted with an attorney.
Very important to make sure that you're getting into a situation that's safe and smart and gonna make sure that your business can flourish and not be a hindrance. So give me just one tip on negotiating.
Oh gosh, we have so many tips up our sleeves. Negotiate on more than one space and never show that you really like that one space.
So never show all your cards.
Right.
Because you want to make sure that you're not getting played.
Right, exactly.
You had to leave a corporate job that was very comfortable, very high profile position, jet setting here and there, and you had to give that up for something that was kind of unknown. What was that moment in your life where you thought, you know what, this is my purpose?
You know, Justine, I'll be very honest with you. After making the switch, I almost went back. After 6 months, one of my clients said, Sushma, I knew you could make a difference. But he said, I didn't know you could make that much difference. So we knew we were making an impact and helping entrepreneurs.
That's great affirmation from a client, hearing that you were not only able to help them save, but it could have really impacted their company. So give me an example of some ways in which you've been able to do that. Sounds like there's more than one.
One client told me that, Sushma, I was going to have a layoff, and you just helped me prevent this layoff by renegotiating my lease and making it more affordable for me.
Wow, so it's more than just the bottom line. You're actually affecting people's livelihood and giving people an opportunity to continue working.
We feel so good every single day.
You know what? You have really impacted so many lives. You've been able to put people in work, keep people in work, and give them the opportunity to create a space for their business that is like home. And the best of luck to you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I think this show was quite a success, and I hope that it's inspired you to find success in your day-to-day life. And I'll see you all next week right here on Andaz.
Turn up. All night till we see the sunlight. Baby, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up. Now we're in the club 'cause you want some more. Baby, turn up, baby, turn up. Knees up and down 'cause the club is loud. Turn up.
Andaz, brought to you by Intellius. Live in the know. Visit www.intellius.com. Ushaji, your spiritual advisor. Call now or visit ushaji.org. Trivium Corporate Solutions, for the life of your business. TriviumCS.com. Basic Ayurveda, your source for Ayurvedic juices. Visit BasicAyurvedaUSA.com.